Hi, this is a brief video to introduce you to some of the parts that came with your Arduino kit, or at least the parts that we will need for a course for your projects and your assignment this year. So the first thing is the actual Arduino controller itself. So it looks something like this, and you can see that it has various places where you can plug in. So on one side, so on this side, you kind of see um, should be a part for 5 volts, so that's where you'll be plugging in the positive side of our board, the power, and there's a couple of negative, or sorry, a couple of grounds there. I know it's hard to see in the video, but there's a couple of grounds there that seem to be on this side. On the other side are the what we call the pins. So this is where you can actually control the various parts of the Arduino that you plug into the board. So such as later on, we're going to show you how to turn on a light bulb, and that's where you sort of control or tell the program which pin the light bulb is plugged into. On this end over here, so here we see that the USB, the plug-in for the USB, so you connect the Arduino to your computer via USB. So hopefully your Arduino kit did come with a cable, so it comes with the fat USB. That's the part that sort of plugs in to this Arduino over here, so sort of like this. And then the other end plugs into your computer. So this serves two purposes. The primary purpose is this is how you upload your Arduino program to the controller, and then you can actually run the program. And the second part is that it provides power. So while this is plugged into your computer, there is power. As soon as you unplug it, then the stuff that your circuit's going to stop working because there's no power. There's a other plug-in that you have over here that you can plug in an adapter that plugs into a battery. So obviously, if you're hooking up your Arduino to some other peripheral that you don't want your laptop to plug in all the time, what happens when the program is uploaded? It is actually stored on the memory chip, and it's constantly running. And as soon as it applies power, it will power the rest of your Arduino and your board. Some other things that come with the kit is the breadboard itself. So I do want to go over this a little bit in detail. So there's actually two sides to the board. So on each side there's a positive and a negative. Okay, so the first thing that you will need to do is you need to hook the positive to the Arduino, to the 5 volts part, and you have to hook up a negative to negative right here to the ground on your Arduino, and so that's going to power and sort of complete the circuit on your Arduino. Now the board is divided into two halves, so one half is here, another half is here. What's really important to note is that for each of the rows, okay, each of the rows, everything along that row is connected. So it's really one circuit in there is all connected. So the nice thing about a breadboard is that we can connect devices to it, and we don't have to solder and make that electrical connection. So everything on here is done that for us. So we just simply plug things in, and we don't have to solder. But it's important to note that along each row, each of the things along this row, it's really one connection. Okay, across the different rows, it's not connected. All right, it's not connected, and also across the two different halves, it's also not connected. Okay, later on we'll talk about it's easy to do if we want to connect across the board. That's simply easy to do, and in fact, maybe I can show you right now. Is that hopefully your Arduino kit did come with all these what we call jumper jumper cables or connectors, and basically what this is it completes electric circuit between 2 points. So for example, if I want to connect 2 rows, all I have to do is plug in a connector like that, and therefore those 2 rows will now be connected. So everything that is on this one row is also connected to the thing on the other row now as well. Okay, so your kit should have come with a lot of these cables because we're going to need a lot of these connectors as we're connected to different devices, to the positive and negative, and also to our Arduino as well. The other thing that your kit would have came with was a whole bunch of resistors. So my kit came out with a whole bunch of resistors that are sort of nicely packaged together like this. If you take one out, it looks like this. So I'll try to hold it nice and close. So basically in the middle is the actual resistor, and there's a whole bunch of bands on there that if you know how to read the resistance of resistor, those colors to tell you how much resistance your resistor provides. Fortunately with my kit, a lot of the resistors are together and the kit is actually labeled. So in this case, this one is a whole stream of 2200 resistors, 22 ohms, and they gave me a whole lot. So this is the one that we're going to use the most often. Again, depending on what exactly that you're hooking up to your Arduino and how you're what you're making, you might going to need different resistors. For the most part, for our course, you're going to really need the 2200 resistors. As you go off and do your own projects, depending on what you're hooking up, hopefully the project will tell you exactly what type of resistor you need to hook things up. And the last thing, or a couple of last things, is one is you're given some LED light bulbs. So mine came with various colors: white, blue, red, yellow, and I also have a green one. Okay, and later on, we're going to learn how to use buttons. So your kit should have came with buttons as well. So your your assignment is going to have to work with buttons as well. But I'm going to create another video to show you how to actually connect the buttons and how to program it as well.